Twin Flames. I'm Abigail, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to heal twin flame separation in 4 steps. So today we're going to be talking about how to do the mirror exercise to heal and move through your upsets and in separation with your twin flame for good. I know a lot on this journey. You might hear, if you're new or if you've been around for a while, you might hear a lot of different people talk about, the importance of doing inner work. So yes, it does require inner work to be with your twin flame and to come together and to maintain your union. It's really important to, keep up on your inner work and clearing your upsets. So today we're going to be talking about how to do that. And so the tool that I use and that my spiritual teachers, Jeff and Shalia, teach us is the mirror exercise. So we're going to go through the steps. I'm just going to list them real quickly, and then we'll go through kind of each one a little bit deeper and move through an example and just kind of talk about it a little bit. And we'll go from there. So what is mirror exercise? So mirror exercise is a 4-step process that we use to bring love to the parts within ourselves that are feeling hurt or upset. And you're meant to do this exercise anytime that you're upset. And no, you don't need a mirror for it. It's not that kind of mirror exercise. This is, it's a really powerful tool for healing. And I highly encourage you, if you're new to it, to definitely write it down. That helps a lot with, mastering that, is to really write down each step. So if you're in a space where you can follow along like that today, I highly encourage, getting a pen and paper so when we go through our example, you can kind of go through it too and get a feel for it. And then you can, look back and reference if you need to later when you're doing the mirror exercise. So the mirror exercise, has 4 steps. So in step 1, you're going to identify the upset in a clear, concise sentence. So you'll write a clear, concise sentence stating the upset. I'm upset with this person, this situation, whatever, because, and then, why you're upset. It's important in step 1 to keep it concise, though. We'll go more in detail on that a little bit. But then in step 2, you change all the nouns to pronouns from your step 1, pointing them at yourself. So, and then in step 3, you ask yourself if there's any truth to that statement that you did in step 2. And hint, the answer is always yes, because it's in your experience. So if something is upsetting you, it's bringing light to a place within you that's feeling bad. And we use the mirror exercise to go to that place that feels bad and love yourself so you can feel good there. That's what we're doing in the mirror exercise. And then for step 4, this is the juicy step, is once you've found that place and you take responsibility for that feeling that you're having, then you can ask yourself what you need to feel loved here. And then you give that to yourself. So we'll back up a little bit and kind of go through an example, just to get a better feel for it. But so back to step 1. So step 1, we write a clear, concise sentence identifying the upset. So a good example is, I'm upset with my twin flame because they're ignoring me. So you have who or what you're upset with, your twin flame. You have the why, because they're ignoring me. It's really good. And so step 1 is kind of the fun step, because you get to, project it outwards. Not that projection is fun, but the importance of step 1 is to get really clear about why you're upset. And it's important when you do this not to make a huge long list of, I'm upset that they're doing this, 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 and this. It makes me feel all these different. You kind of got to back away from the story a little bit. I find that if I'm having trouble, getting my step 1 to be clear and concise, then I journal for a little bit to kind of get all that, venting, rambling kind of out, and then I can go back through that and pick out step ones. So that's a good thing to do. I found that helpful personally. So if you have trouble getting a very clear, concise sentence for your step one, I recommend trying that out. Just journaling for a little bit, just getting out how you feel, and then you can go back through it and start to mirror the different things that came up there. Because I know for me personally as well, I had a tendency in the beginning when I was, and sometimes I still do this in step one, to try and like fit everything into that one step one. And you don't need to do that. It's important to just pinpoint specific places in the mirror exercise, because you can do the mirror exercise lots of times. When I first started this journey, I was doing it all the time. I was taking paper out of, like, printer paper out of the printer at my job to write down my mirror exercises. You do what you got to do, and to get to move through your inner work. And it's really important to keep up with this, because it's good spiritual hygiene to keep clearing your consciousness, and continuing to also love yourself. This point of the mirror exercise is to really love yourself. So, kind of back to step one: clear, concise sentence. The example we're doing right now is, I'm upset with my twin flame because they're ignoring me. Okay, so that's step one. So now we move to step two. So step two can be one of the places where people can get tripped up here. So we change all the nouns to pronouns to point them at yourself. So for our example, step one was, I'm upset with my twin flame because they're ignoring me. Step two, I'm upset with myself because I'm ignoring myself. So the point of step two is to redirect your focus from out there and bring it back in here. Because inside of you, from within, is where real change happens. This is where you can really change. You can't go out there and fix things or do things that's not actually going to, that's not really changing, like, permanently. It really, change starts from within. So in step two, when we're pointing it back at ourselves, it's not to blame ourselves for what's going on and what we're experiencing. It's just to redirect our focus within us, so that then when we go to step three, we can identify this feeling within ourselves. So that's kind of step two. So again, our example: step one, I'm upset with my twin flame because they're ignoring me. Step two, I'm upset with myself because I'm ignoring myself. Step three, is there any truth to that statement? And remember, we said earlier, hint, the answer is always yes, because you're experiencing that. So what does that actually mean? Like, what's kind of going on here in step three? So I know one thing that's helped me is, when I was in a coaching session, I would get kind of tripped up here a lot too, and it helped when it was explained to me that step three is where you're taking responsibility for how you feel. So a lot of times people can kind of look at the mirror exercise and think of it like it's blaming yourself for things. That's not what we're doing. We're taking responsibility for how we feel, not for what somebody else is doing. So in our example with our twin flame ignoring us, we're taking responsibility for how we feel. So we feel ignored. You're feeling ignored. That's the feeling. You're saying, it's step three, it's, okay, that's the feeling, that's my feeling, I see that within me. It's not your fault your twin flame's ignoring you. That's not what we're saying in step three. It's not your twin flame's ignoring you because of you. No, it's, I feel ignored. That's it. That's essentially what we're doing in step three. Because when we take responsibility for how we feel, it empowers us to make a new choice so that we can feel good here. That's the purpose of the mirror exercise. We simply are saying, I feel bad right now, and I want to feel good. And the mirror exercise is the process that we work through so that we can feel good. But in order to feel good, you need to first identify what feels bad, like we did in step 1. Then you need to recognize, you need to bring your attention back to yourself, so we did in step 2. And then step 3, saying, okay, I see that feeling. I see that feeling within me. It's really what we're doing here is, I see this feeling. This feeling is within me. That's my feeling. Okay? So you don't want to spend, another thing too is, I know step 3, there seems to be a lot going on, but you don't need you need to hang out here. You don't need to analyze every place that you're ignoring yourself and all that. There's lots of ways you could be ignoring yourself, ignoring how you feel or what you need, or etc. You don't need to go and find all these find all these things. You've identified the upset, that thorn, just pull it out. That you don't need to sit here and examine every little bump and mark on the floor, and you just if you're throwing away your trash, you don't examine your trash, you just walk up to the trash can and throw it away. That's kind of what we're doing. We're just saying, okay, this is a bad feeling. I don't want to continue experiencing this. I don't want to continue experiencing this feeling. And in order to do that, we need to love ourselves. So that brings us to step 4. So in step 4, ask yourself, what this part of you needs to feel loved. So in step 3, we've connected with this part that feels ignored, or however you feel. But for the sake of our example, we're saying feels ignored. What does this part of you need here? Do you need attention? Do you need love? Do you need compassion? Do you need forgiveness? What do you need here? And then you give that to yourself. Now, another place people can get stuck here is, we're not often taught how to love ourselves, like really love ourselves. So sometimes I see people getting tripped up on, like, they think they have to go do something. Like they have to take a bubble bath or read a book, or there's something that has to be done on the outside, but there's not. Love is instant. It's a choice. And when you choose to give yourself compassion, love, forgiveness, attention, it's instant. It's happening right now. You don't need to go do anything. You just come to your heart. And I know that can be easier said than done, especially at the beginning when you're first learning everything. Definitely have compassion with yourself. If you've never done the mirror exercise before, you don't need to be perfect at it. It's perfectly okay to, it takes practice. It's the importance of really getting a coach and somebody to help support you on your journey. And I know having my coach has been invaluable for me. I wouldn't be where I am without the support of my coach. And it's not that I don't do my inner work without her. It's really helpful to have somebody to help you kind of see the things that you're not seeing, and to help you master the mirror exercise. That's what we do in Ascension Coaching, is it's helping you master the mirror exercise. And it's really important to master this tool. This is what is going to heal separation with your twin flame. And another thing too is, if you want to learn more about the mirror exercise, I definitely recommend getting Jeff and Shalea's book, Twin Flames, Finding Your Ultimate Lover. There's like an entire chapter in here on the mirror exercise and how to do it in really deep detail. So if you want to explore more, I definitely recommend that. There's also, if you struggle with step 4 in that book, there's also a guided visualization meditation to kind of help you. I know I'm a visual person, and so when I first started, it was really helpful for me to like visualize giving myself a hug, or sitting next to myself, or giving myself attention, and having a conversation with myself. We all heal differently. Not everybody's a visual person, I know, but you'll find your thing. It takes practice. Self-love does take practice. We like to think that it's just this, oh, you just do it, but it does take practice to do it when most of us aren't taught how to do that. And it's okay to go through that process of learning. So that is mirror exercise. I do want to address a couple more things because I know sometimes there are just some, as with anything, there's always, myths and misconceptions and stuff with it. So one of the big ones is sometimes people look at it as a tool for self-blame. That's not what we're doing. I think I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier too, but we'll touch on it again, is, it's not, mirror exercise is not for blaming yourself. You're not blaming yourself here. It's actually a tool for empowerment, because only you can create your reality, which means you have power. You have the power to command your reality as you see fit, but in order to do that, in order to really, wield that power in your life, you have to take responsibility for yourself and how you feel. And because how your feelings are going to help you identify these places where you're not feeling loved and where there are things that you need, and it's only up to you to fulfill those. And of course you do it with God. You're not taking from yourself to give to yourself. You're loving yourself with God's love. You're giving yourself God's compassion, God's forgiveness. It comes from God. It's not from you. And another thing is, when we're doing the mirror exercise, you're only taking responsibility for how you feel about what you're experiencing. You're not taking responsibility for the experience itself. Like, if somebody is harassing you, you're not taking responsibility for their choice to harass you. You're taking responsibility for, I feel harassed. That feels bad. I don't want to feel that anymore. I don't want to experience that anymore. And when you go through the mirror exercise and you give yourself the love that you need there, in our example for feeling harassed, you're going to no longer allow that into your experience. And when you choose to not allow that anymore, you're able to set that boundary and say, no, I don't allow this. And how that looks will be different. Don't get caught up too much in how things look. It's when you really set boundaries within yourself with what you choose, because that's what boundaries are, is, do you invite this or not? If you don't invite this, boundary, I don't invite this. And if there's something that doesn't feel good to you, you don't have to invite it into you. That's really one of the big things I've learned from mirror exercise, is we're identifying kind of where we've been allowing these things to make us feel a certain way, and saying, that feels bad. I don't want to feel bad anymore. But we're not, bypassing it and trying to forget about it, because that doesn't resolve anything. You have to actually love yourself there and make that new choice. But in making that new choice, you naturally don't allow that. So then, for example, if somebody was harassing you, do the mirror exercise, and somebody tries to do that again to you, you're not gonna accept it, and it's gonna be natural for you to have the words to place that boundary. It's just gonna be there because you're not gonna allow it. And a lot of times, what I've found is, whenever I do the mirror exercise, it's not uncommon if you do the mirror exercise for an experience and then that experience happens again. It's, to test, to make, it's kind of a test. Like, do you really want to make this new choice here? And, in doing that, it doesn't mean you're going to constantly be like that. Like, for example, at my job where I work, I used to feel really, I answer the phone at my job. And I work at the front desk and answer the phone. I deal with a lot of really upset people every day. And there were times that, there was a pretty good chunk of time when people would yell at me and scream at me over the phone, and I felt disrespected. So I kept mirroring that, and now that I haven't had anybody yell at me for several months, and when people kind of start to kind of have that energy like it's going to go there, it's just natural for me to shut it down. It's people can pick up on your energy and what you're allowing in, and that's kind of how we attract these experiences to ourselves is what we're allowing, and that's kind of how we get into like you can, if you're not allowing something, then it's not gonna it's not gonna affect you, it's not gonna upset you, because it's just me. No, somebody tries to come in and harass you again, no, you just set a boundary, and you're gonna find that fewer and fewer people even attempt it, because that boundary is stronger and stronger and stronger every time you hold it, and eventually it'll stop, and you'll feel better about it each time. Like, especially with your twin flame, there are things, especially like the ignoring you example that we did, you might have to do that multiple times. I've had to do that multiple times. I've had multiple periods where my twin flame has ignored me. It used to be a regular thing. But the thing is, there's layers sometimes to upsets, and I know especially in the communication, ignoring, being chosen realm, those are things that are pretty common that have layers, because they're deep stuff. It's deep stuff. And if you keep coming to the same upset over and over, if you're healing with the mirror exercise, that's what I wanted to say too for step 4. So in step 4, sorry guys, we gotta back up a little bit. In step 4, the mirror exercise is complete when you feel a sense of peace and relief in this place that was upset. That's how you know that you've completed it. Yeah, I got ahead of myself just kind of going into stuff. So yeah, that's how you know it's complete, is if you feel peace and relief in this place. Now, if you're experiencing a lot of upsets, you might not feel, you might have other upsets coming up, but it's important to just really feel into the place that you just healed. Am I peaceful and relieved in this place? And a good way to do that is to go back to your step 1 and see if it still upsets you. If it does, go through the mirror exercise again. That if you have to do that, either it's, you didn't completely love yourself, or it's a new layer, that happens too. But anyway, yeah. Now I gotta think of where I was before all of that, but yeah. So yeah, ultimately you're very powerful, and it's important to really recognize that you do have power in your life. Life isn't something that just happens to us. We do have power, and we can create a life for ourselves that's full of love and happiness and peace. We can, because peace and love are our natural states of being. And as you continue to heal, you're gonna develop that baseline of peace and love. That's something that has helped me a lot, is the more I healed, I got to a place where I always felt peace. Not that I didn't experience upset, not that I don't experience upsets, but there's like that baseline of peace where even if I'm really, really upset, there's always just that little thread of peace. And it's gotten to where I can just kind of follow that little thread. And as you heal, it's going to be it's going to expand, because every time you do the mirror exercise, you're expanding the peace, you're expanding the love. That's another thing too, is as you continue to heal, you're going to come to a place where you have that baseline of peace, but you also have that baseline of love for yourself and for your twin flame, to where even if your twin flame is doing something that seems really awful, it really upsets you, you're still going to have that baseline of, I love them, I love myself here, and then you can work through it. And it helps you with, as you continue to, as you continue to expand and grow that love and peace, it makes it a lot easier to move through your upsets, and it makes them seem a lot less scary to move through. But yeah, so that is the mirror exercise, which is how we heal twin flame separation. So if you would like me to make that visualization exercise into like a meditation, so if you're having trouble with step 4 and you'd like that meditation, I can definitely do that. Just let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, or you're having trouble with the mirror exercise, you can also let me know in the comments. So I'm an Ascension Coach in training with Twin Flames Universe right now, so definitely I'd love to help you on your journey with any next steps. If you have questions or trouble with the mirror exercise, you're always welcome to leave a comment, or reach out to me on my email. I have that in the description or in my bio, and also on Instagram. You can always message me on Instagram at Sakura Soul Union. So yeah, definitely, if you have any questions or you want to explore next steps, you're always welcome to reach out to me, and we can just talk about your journey, and can answer some questions about the mirror exercise, and help get you set up on your journey. I'd love to help you out and connect with you. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. I hope you wrote down the mirror exercise with me while we were doing it. If not, no worries, you can always go back and do it later. And yeah, just let me know any questions, comments in the comments. Don't forget to like, and be sure to subscribe for more twin flame tips, insights, guidance, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.